My sister Penny was always afraid of the upstairs at our house, and she never went up there at night. Our main conversations every night went something like this. Buffy, go upstairs and find me a white sweater, black jeans, and my leather jacket. The clothing items would change from night to night, but I was always asked to go get her things. But she would not go upstairs without an adult after dark. I almost always reply with, "Why can't you go get them? I sleep up there and nothing's happened to me." And she always replies with the same. "Just wait. Someday it will." Okay, so I will admit that it is creepy as hell up there. I'll give you the layout. There are 2 rooms that lead into each other, with no hallway, and there is an attic above. The house is well over 100 years old, and there is a banister over the stairs, but it is closed off by a door. I remember Penny coming home from dates, and before she would take her boyfriend upstairs, she would send him up with a flashlight to check the closets and under the beds, even though I was in one of those beds. Once, when our mother asked her why she would not sleep upstairs in her room, she rattled off numerous reasons, such as, you can see small lights that come out of the closet, and you can hear footsteps and heavy breathing in the attic, and there is always a sense of being watched a little too closely. I secretly think my mum knew, and agreed with my sister, but overlooked it. Better to have one daughter on the couch, rather than 2. Eventually, my sister got married and moved out when she was 18, and I was 11. I suppose that's when the ghost, or whatever, thought it was my turn. Here's my experience. To start, I'd hear stomping all over the attic, no matter what room I was in. There were whispers in the closet, like 2 children having a conversation. The conversations I overheard were from them talking about dolls. Sometimes they were trying to figure out what happened to someone named Uncle Dolphy, and sometimes it sounded as if they were discussing how they could run away. I did not get a bad feeling from the girls in the closet. I felt I was always being watched, all day and all night, and I lived in a constant state of panic. When I was upstairs, every nerve was on edge. The worst thing was the big black shadow in the middle of the night, asking where Penny was. The voice wasn't the voice of a kid. It sounded like it came from someone who smoked 4 packs a day for 50 years. The black shadow would ask after my sister at least 6 times every night. When I would not answer out of fear, the shadow would throw things at me, such as books, figurines, and even my pictures. Then it was my turn to sleep on the couch. And then I understood my sister. It wasn't an excuse. She actually heard these things. I never understood why I didn't until after Penny moved out, and I was bullied by this ghost or whatever. That's what this entity was. A bully. Something that always had to have power over us young powerless sisters that lived in the home. Fast forward 2 years after Penny was gone, and she had her own home. My oldest sister Janine couldn't afford the house she was renting due to being in the middle of a divorce, and brought her 3 kids and moved in with us. Jennifer, which was 5, Kevin, who was 3, and Amanda, who was 2, which meant Jennifer would be staying upstairs with me, and we were both expected to sleep upstairs. We were woken up all the time by stomping, and when Jennifer would start to cry from being scared, I would tell her that it was because the house was old, and that's what old houses did when they settled at night. Exactly what my mum always told me when I heard the noises in our home. Jennifer's 6th birthday rolls around, and my mother buys her one of those creepy clown dolls. You know the ones. A plastic head, a wire body under its clown clothes, and it has the most insanely evil laugh. That clown was always going off by itself at night, never during the day. One night I decided I had enough, so I got out of bed and went over to take the batteries out. But when I opened the battery pack, no batteries were inside. I told my mum and my older sister, but no one cared, or they thought it was my overactive imagination. The only person who believed me was Penny. So the next day, I got up and threw it in the attic, but it would still go off, in the middle of the night. Then one day, I came home, and the doll was out of the attic, and sitting on the chair across from my bed, and when I asked who put it there, no one knew. We ended up burning that doll, and Penny came and burned sage in our home. Now that I'm grown up, my kids who like to stay with my mum always tell me about the things being moved, and their chargers being jerked from the wall whenever they're there. But I still feel that it waits to this day for Penny to come home. Maybe because she feared it the most, I don't know. But I know that bully brought me a lot closer to the sister whom I couldn't possibly live without.